Good morning. You are listening to Table for Two with Naomi Nachman on the Nachum Network. Our show is sponsored by Hod Golan, the height of taste. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Naomi Nachman. I'm about all the food all the time. I love food. I love to shop for it, cook it, eat at restaurants, anything food related. I'm a kosher personal chef. My business is called the Aussie Gourmet. I also give cooking classes. I cater for people for Shabbat, Yom Tov, Pesach, small parties. Anytime you don't feel like cooking, I'm your gal. I hope that you'll tune in every week and listen to our show and share my cooking adventures, kosher food traveling, and sharing of great food ideas and recipes each week. But I also want to hear from you. So you can reach me at naomi@nachumsegal.com. You can join my fan page on Facebook, The Aussie Gourmet. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, or you can join my newsletter on my website, theaussiegourmet.com. So it's been a really crazy, exciting week. I just want to give a really big shout out to Yossi Bess from the Fish Plate in Cedarhurst, Long Island. They are my go-to restaurant, and I've had to go out to eat with my family for dinner quite a few times in the last 4 weeks while I've been busy cooking for Pesach. He has provided us fresh, healthy fish meals and at his restaurant, and we love it. And you know, if you don't want to eat something so healthy like a grilled fish platter, you can order some fish and chips. It's fabulous. We've had a great time eating there. It's really great atmosphere, and I think it's getting busier and busier there, so it's really nice. I'm very pleased for them, and my family loves it, and they have amazing lunch specials. So a few times we've actually ordered in some wraps, some of his salmon wraps, and ate them in the kitchen, in the separate kitchen. I've got a Pesach kitchen where I've been doing all this cooking for 23 families I've been cooking for, thank God. But we go upstairs to my regular kitchen. We have this yummy fish platters and, you know, break into reality from all the Pesach cooking. So thank you, Yossi Bess and family, from the Fish Plate out in Cedarhurst. You want a great family meal, well priced. That's a place to go. You can check them out on Facebook at the Fish Plate in Cedarhurst. Okay, so we've got an amazing show today, and of course we like to start off with a giveaway, but we're going to first introduce our Rebbetzin Nachama Labor from the Pesach in Lake George program, and she's going to talk about the giveaway that we're going to be giving. So I know everyone's probably at the edge of their seats waiting to hear what a giveaway is while I'm introducing Rebbetzin Labor. Hello, Nachama Labor.
Hello.
How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me at your Pesach program. I'm so excited.
Oh, we're so glad we can give you a break from all your cooking.
I know. It's been really nice. I'm actually home for first days because my family likes to be home for first days. That's like one of our things that we like to do. But for second days, we're going to be, for Cholamoy through second days, we're going to be joining you.
That's great.
And we're going to be doing I'm going to be doing some cooking classes, so we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So, Rebbetzin, how long have you been running this program for?
So we've been running this particular program for 4 years.
Okay.
But I've been making Pesach now for 19 years and always had, public shadarim at our Chabad house. And so I'm used to cooking. We used to do it in hotels, but just for our local people.
Okay.
For that. And now, we saw there was a need to expand to out-of-towners, and it's really nice to bring more religious people to the area.
How many religious families are you up in Lake George area? You live in Lake George. Is that your address, Lake George, New York?
So, no, I live an hour south. We live in Shore, New York, which only has one other religious family.
Wow.
And we don't have, but in Albany, which is where the children go to school, there are a number of families there in the school.
How far is it from, say, Lake George to Albany?
So Lake George to Albany is about an hour.
Okay. I feel like my kids are on the bus for an hour and we live locally from the school.
Right. But we don't live in Lake George all year. We live in Shore, New York, which is about 25 minutes from the school.
And how do you get all your kosher food and meats and all that? You have it shipped up from New York?
No, there is a kosher price. We call it kosher price choppers, but it's the price choppers that carries the kosher food.
Nice.
And we get our milk once a week, the Chalab Yisrael milk, on this Thursday delivery. If you buy your milk on Tuesday, it will be spoiled. But otherwise, there's kosher meat. There's everything we need, thank God.
Okay, that's so nice. And it's available all year, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to go up to Lake George for a vacation, you don't really have to worry so much about schlepping so much food.
Right, definitely. It's the stopover for many travelers.
Very nice. We love the Lake George area. So my kids, when I told them this was going to happen, they were so excited.
And I actually just looked up the weather and saw that the day that everybody arrives, it's going to be in the 70s.
Amazing. Oh, my God. Can you imagine?
Spring is truly coming, even to Lake George.
Spring has sprung.
So we're very excited. Last year, Pesach was earlier, so it was a little bit cooler. So this year, it's going to be nicer, and we can really enjoy the lake. And on Yom Tov, people walk around the lake, and it's truly gorgeous.
So the hotel, where's the hotel?
The hotel is actually on Lake George.
On that big lake in the middle.
Henry.
Oh, okay, great. And what kind of activities are you running?
All right, so...
big breath there. Besides my cooking classes, what else have you got going? And then we'll talk about the coupon.
I was going to say that, I hear from your program, we know how popular it is because everybody loves food. But we know that that's not enough, besides for the food for the body, which we're providing by our wonderful caterer.
Yeah, Chaim Richter, he's amazing.
We believe it's also important to feed our soul. And so we've put a lot of effort into nourishing the souls of our guests with all types of workshops, classes, and, personal growth classes. And one of the main themes is how to achieve personal freedom, overcoming limitations, whether real or imaginary. So we have all kinds of amazing scholars and guests who will be presenting all different types of workshops and talks on these topics. For example, we have Rabbi Shea speaking about...
Rabbi who? I'm sorry, we lost that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Rabbi Shea Tao speaking about a topic called Getting Unstuck, a spiritual guide to your personal exodus. We have Ruth Devora Wallen, who's a licensed social worker, speaking about current therapeutic trends and Torah, and she'll be giving a workshop on kosher meditation and relaxation techniques to enhance our lives. We also have on Friday night, we have an amazing panel with a rabbi, Rabbi Taub, a doctor, Dr. Shimon November, who is actually an OBGYN but working in the military.
Wow, that's different.
And Dimitri Salita.
Oh, the boxer.
The famous boxer.
Wow.
Right?
Giving boxing classes, maybe? Some boxing classes?
Yes, he will be giving boxing classes to the men.
To the men, that is really cool.
And the boys.
And the boys. Okay, I've only got girls. Oh, well. I don't think they'd be interested in any case.
Well, don't worry. For the girls, we have Jumba. For the women,
oh,
too.
Cute. Okay. And cooking classes? Yeah?
And cooking classes. And I'm going to talk about the women in a minute, but I want to tell you about this amazing panel.
We got to wrap up in a minute. Yeah.
At the ONEG.
Yeah, let's wrap up by telling us before we talk about the coupon, let's talk about the panel.
Okay, and their topic is breaking boundaries to reach your goals.
Love it.
And so they'll each speak about how they've reached their goals, and not always is it easy. And so that's what I believe, that when our guests come, they'll have the time. They won't be busy in the kitchen, especially our wonderful women who deserve the break.
This is what This is what Rebbetzin and I were talking about yesterday, right? That the women have been working so hard for the last few weeks. And at this point, everyone I'm sure is home for first days. Or if you want, you can still use our giveaway that Rebbetzin is about to announce. But we've worked really hard. It's time for the women to have a break. And for any of you, the men folk listening who are married and want to give their wives a break for Chol Hamoed and for Shabbos Day, we've got a special gift for you, a giveaway for you. Do you want to announce that for us?
So it's going to be 20% off for any of your listeners who sign up.
So if you are interested in this 20% off giveaway, email me, naomi@nachamsiegel.com. I will email you back the coupon code. You tell it to Rebbetzin Nachama Labor, and she will process your order through, and you will have the best vacation. You've just heard about how you're going to be fed physically, how you're going to be fed spiritually, and all the activities that we've got going at this beautiful, amazing Pesach program.
Exactly. And I just wanted to end off with a little thing that happened last year. Is we have this beautiful program booklet that our guests will be receiving, and on the back it says, next year, we hope to meet you all in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem. And our hotel manager came over to me last year frantically. She said, do you mean you're not coming back next year? You're going to do it in Jerusalem?
And I guess you had to explain it to her.
I'm hoping that we give our guests a true feeling of freedom, and now all we need is the ultimate freedom with Mashiach. We should all be there in Jerusalem.
Amen. That would be beautiful. I know we didn't touch on, let's spend 30 seconds just talking about the women's program, because I know that all the women listening would love to hear this, because I think we wrapped up too early, but just tell us what the women's program is.
Oh, for sure. Actually, we have a special feature called Women Connect. Once a day, there'll be a class during Mincha Maariv and during the times that the children have a night activity. And we have featured women speakers and presentations and called Women Connect. And it's just a time for women to speak about heart-to-heart, learn different techniques in parenting, in, building a better marriage. We have one woman speaking about rhythms of the soul, finding your inner strength.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
We have a special women's concert with Rivka Leah Silich from actually Melbourne.
Oh, really? Another Aussie? Oh, great.
Yes, yes. I told her about you.
Okay.
So she's very excited. She's also our activity director.
Okay, great. I look forward to meeting her.
And she'll be offering a special concert for women.
Lovely, lovely.
And she's a composer and pianist.
Oh, fantastic.
Wonderful singer.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
And
we look forward to seeing you soon.
Yep. Enjoy the first days, and I look forward to seeing you on Chol Hamoed.
Okay.
All right, take care. Bye. Thank you very much, Rebbetzin Nachama Labor from Pesach in Lake George cooking program. That's very cool. So if you are interested in joining me and my family and the amazing team up there at Lake George and seeing the wonderful programs, special coupon, 20% off, Naomi at NachumSiegel.com. You deserve a break, either now, for you can go for the whole time if you want to change your mind, if not, to stay home for first days. But at this point, reality is that, you want to go away for Chol Hamoed and second days, and you have that really great coupon. It's not one of these crazy priced hotels. You're having all the crazy activities and all the crazy amazing food that all these grand hotels offer, but at a reasonable price, and you don't have to go on a plane. You just drive in a car, and the Lake George area is so beautiful. Okay, so enough about that. We're going to talk with, my first guest is such an important chashuva lady from Montreal, Canada. We got her on the line. Okay, great, absolutely fantastic. Thank you, ZK. I'm joined in the studio today by ZK. Mazel tov on the birth of his baby. I'm sure that everyone's given you lots of shout outs and mazel tov, but we have not done it on Table for Two. So very excited. He's smiling. His daughter is joining us today. Hi, Penina Capel, joining us from Brooklyn. Everyone's off on school vacation today. Hello, Norene. How are you?
Oh, I'm great, Naomi. How are you?
Good. I've got Norene Gilletz. I don't even know how to start off giving your bio. Starters, her website, if you're in front of a computer and you're listening also, is gourmania.com. So you can look her up as you hear the show. Norene is a leading author of so many cookbooks in Canada and across the world. She's published anything from diet to healthy, food processor cookbooks, microwave cookbooks, healthy cookbooks, you name it, she's touched on it. She's also a food consultant, a food writer, a columnist, a cooking teacher, a lecturer. She specializes in makeover, recipe makeovers. She works on food-related websites, magazines. She advises in the kosher food industry as a culinary spokesperson. She is in Toronto, Canada, but raised her children in Montreal. Welcome again, Norene.
Oh, thanks. It's great to be here. When you say all the things that I do, remember, I don't do them all at the same time.
You can multitask, but not all that.
Not quite.
This has been over a 40-somewhat year career.
Yeah, probably about 50 years now. That's a long time.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really amazing. I'm so glad that you're on my show. We've met in person, and I was a little starstruck when I met you at Kosher Fest.
Oh, it was so nice when we met. We met at Kosher Fest.
A couple years back,
and I'm like... a couple years back, with your wonderful Aussie accent.
Oh, thank you. My grandfather's siblings went to Montreal after World War II. He went to Israel and then Australia, but his siblings went on to Montreal. And my auntie Esther, who I was very close with, my oldest daughter is named after her, gave my mother a cookbook called Second Helpings, Please. So Second Helpings, Please, right? I'm pretty sure that was the cookbook. I know that was the cookbook. It had the orange plaid-looking tablecloth cover, right?
Yes, an orange checkerboard.
Right, and my mother was given that cookbook by my Aunt Esther in the 70s. Is that all right?
It came out in 1968. I was pregnant with my youngest child.
Wow, 1968. So my mother got it in about 1975 from my aunt, and it was always a staple in my house. And then I never thought I would get to grow up and meet you and, join the cooking world.
It's a really interesting book because at that time, first of all, there are no photos. There are no head notes at all. The instructions are plain, basic instructions. There's 3 or 4 recipes on a page. Nobody got credit for contributing a recipe. And the recipes just worked. And they've been classics. And what's happened is families have used them for so many years that the children and then the grandchildren are now saying, Passover or Rosh Hashanah or Shabbos isn't the same if I don't have whatever their favorite dish is. So it's quite interesting, that people are so connected back to the generations through the food that they ate at their mother's table, their grandmother's table, their great-grandmother's table. And the books are all stained with food, and the binding is broken, and there may be a ring mark because somebody put it on a burner, but people won't part with the book. They're really classic treasures.
And I think each recipe tells a story. Once the cookbook gets like that, there's a history within the cookbook, like what meal you made. Yeah. It's nice. I've got that in a lot of my Pesach bookbooks. A lot of my Pesach recipes that I use for my personal chef business are your recipes. They work. They're delicious. My customers love them. Can I tell you the one that's the most popular is the apricot brisket. It's from your Millennium Yummies cookbook.
Oh, right, Millennium.
And you wrote that in the year 2000 because of Millennium. Get the joke, everybody.
Right, yeah, exactly. It was so complicated, nobody could pronounce it, but
I called it Millennium Yummy.
I don't know what they call it.
Everyone was tripping over it. So my cousins, my aunt Esther's daughters, my mother's cousins, gave me that cookbook. So it was kind of like a family thing between getting a Norene Gilletz book from family generation to generation.
Yes.
And I read that book from cover to cover. I totally changed my entire eating habits for me and my family.
Oh,
because of that book. And, I was always pretty much a healthy eater, but it just changed my whole outlook, and I liked how each recipe had the, the breakdown.
Yes, the nutrient analysis at the end.
Thank you. Yeah. That was what I was looking for. And it was just a brilliant cookbook. Also, it was right about the first Susie Fishbein book came out. It was not so far away from that. So you didn't have pictures everywhere. You had a few pictures in her books, and you had it was just about the recipe, not about all the glossy and I would also set my table with this and set my table with that, which I love. But it was just one of these books that taught you everything and all the tips in there. And when I went to do a microwave cooking class at Stern College last year, I'm like, where am I going to read up and study and learn about a lot more about microwave cooking? And of course, I turned to your book once again, Microwaves.
Oh, thank you. That's out of print, actually.
Really?
I think I might have one collectible copy. I have a tzedakah project. It's very interesting that I do with a friend. She loves to shop, and she finds my out-of-print books, like my yellow processor book, the original edition. It's out of print as well. And she buys them up. She finds them in prime condition, gets them up here to Toronto, whether they go via Lakewood or whether they, however she finds them, and then I pay her whatever she paid for them, and the difference goes into tzedakah.
Oh, beautiful.
It's a really nice project. So it's a way of paying it forward. This year we put money into the Passover baskets program here in Toronto because there was no chicken for the Passover baskets.
What does that mean?
Usually they give Passover baskets to people who need food for a good Pesach. This year they didn't. They had lost their supplier because the kosher poultry supplier, which was Chai Poultry, closed down, and so they had no way of getting. They didn't have a poultry donation, so. I made them set up a fund. I put an appeal out. I said, you have to have chicken for Pesach.
Absolutely.
And the Montreal supplier, which is Marvid, stepped right up to the plate and helped them out quite a bit. And there's going to be chicken. We set up that people would donate because I had been ill. People wanted to do something, so a lot of people donated in my honor. So it's kind of a nice thing. I always try to make sure that somebody benefits, so that everybody can enjoy.
That is
good
beautiful.
Pesach. Yeah,
I know when you were ill, so many amazing Facebook messages went out to you on your
group.
Actually,
it was actually overwhelming.
There were thousands.
I was so touched. I mean, I had been really sick, and my family lives in another city. My friends were here, and there were phone calls all over the place, and people didn't know what was going on. And I was just lucky. I had very good medical treatment, and my doctor was pretty smart. I had a blood clot in my leg that was completely blocked and went to my lungs. Really bad news, and I was very lucky that there was good medical care. And I'm here. I've got more work to do.
Okay,
more things
good.
to do. Not done yet.
We need you. We need you with us, and keep us fed and informed. You know what's really cool? That every year in the Kosher Pesach OU magazines that come out, you always have your recipes there.
Yes, in Jewish Action, I write for them.
The OU is so I don't know how to say it. Like, they are the biggest name in kashrut in the United States.
Highly respected.
Highly respected and
very
just
powerful.
Very powerful, and just they do so much, and they turn to you to do their recipes. I would find that, imagine that you are very flattered by that.
Yeah, it was a very wonderful honor to be asked. I was doing some work with one of their previous. I was doing work actually for their online site, and I learned a lot because of doing this. I came from a very traditional Jewish background. I went to shul. My father took us to shul. My mother never wanted to go. My mother's belief about the holidays was you cook for the holidays. She never went to shul, but she rarely went to shul. But you had to know that if it was Rosh Hashanah, there was carrot simmus, and if it was Pesach, it was 15 dozen eggs. You bought all the cases of eggs and 5 pounds of matzah. And then she went back for more, and it was a little tiny store that she went to in matzah farfel, and she knew how to take literally nothing and just turn it into something wonderful. My mother was an amazing cook and a huge inspiration in my life. She thought I should be a doctor. I ended up being a food doctor than a doctor
of food.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, it's amazing that what our parents want for us and what we do is sometimes different.
Well, you do what you're supposed to do in life. That's exactly it.
I never thought I would have have this show, Table for Two, or become, I was a kindergarten teacher, and I love teaching. That's why I think I still teach cooking classes. But, it's really, I love it. You got to do what you love. That's the most important.
Yeah. Well, cooking classes are a wonderful way to pass on knowledge. I like to teach because it's not really so much about the recipes, but teaching people how to use the recipe as a springboard for another idea. You don't have to be bound by a recipe. Years ago, I thought, I really want to have a cooking school, and I really want to have I want to be able to do all these things. I want to write. I had done Second Helpings, Please, and I think I had done my processor. I was just doing my processor book, and I took cooking classes with Jacques Pepin, and I was so
really?
excited. I went to Florida. I spent a whole week taking classes.
I
with
love
Jacques.
watching him. He's amazing.
He's an incredible person, a wonderful teacher and an inspiration. And I remember him saying, "Okay, here's the duck, and we're going to do." And everyone said, "What? Where are you in the recipe?" He said, "Well, what recipe do you have?" And somebody points out the recipe. He said, "Well, that's a very nice recipe. You can make that if you like. I don't feel like doing that today. I feel like doing something different." And he did. And I thought, wow, you don't have to do exactly what the recipe says. And he really inspired me. I think that he made a huge impact in the way I teach. So the idea is to share knowledge so that people can improvise, use what they like for their own family, for their own needs. Like, for example, somebody's allergic, what do you do? Somebody's a vegetarian at your table, how do you adjust? What can you do to adjust? Because food needs change. Every family is different. And even we change. We may be eating one way now, and then all of a sudden the doctor says, "Okay, cut the salt, or cut the fat, or
cut the gluten." Cut the gluten. People are going gluten-free and now lactose-free. Everyone's diets are changing all the time.
Right. Well, the fact that I could do kosher was a big factor because I knew how to make recipes parve, and actually ended up doing a book that a lot of people don't know about. It's called the Low Iodine Diet Cookbook.
I saw that on your website. What does that mean?
Oh, well, when people have had thyroid cancer, a while afterwards they give them radioactive iodine treatment to kill any remaining cells. So they have to be on a diet for about 2 weeks to deplete their body of any iodine. So they eat a low iodine diet, not no iodine, but low iodine. So they can't have dairy and they can't have any egg yolks. Well, that was easy enough for me to do. And they can't have commercial bread, but I knew how to make bread, and they could use salt, but they couldn't use iodized salt, and they couldn't use packaged products because you never knew what the source of sodium would be, or what would be in it. So they adapted my recipes. I worked with the editor who had with the publisher who had health issues of her own, and she knew quite a bit about it, and they guided me through, and I was able to develop recipes for dairy-free and egg-free and no fish. Believe it or not, but simple, basic recipes that people could enjoy. And the book has been in print for I don't know how many years, and still a huge resource. Used 2 weeks a year, but people who have the book often use my recipes all year round. And they're just good, simple recipes, not necessarily for people who are Jewish. I mean, I write for a kosher market, but my recipes are enjoyed by people well outside the market, believe me.
Right. So tell me, I saw that on your website, and I know this because, we've had conversations before, but Norene also helps people she's not a publisher herself, but she helps get... You were?
I did. I published my own books at the beginning.
Your books are self-published?
They were. And then a publisher came to me and said, I really love your processor book. Would you be willing to redo it with us?
Oh, nice.
We'd like to publish you. That was White Cat Books. And I said, yeah, sure.
But you also help other people get to that point, too.
Yeah,
I
do. I do editing, and I will advise. I do a lot of consulting work.
Okay.
Always, it's very complicated to have a book published today. It's a huge market. There's about 26,000 new food publications each year.
Oh, my God.
26,000.
That's why
I
don't want to write one.
How can you be sure that your book will be a success?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to write one because the task is so daunting, but I go, there are so many great books out there already. Mm-hmm. I'd like to think my recipes are different, but there's just so much stuff going on. It's hard to be so competitive like that.
Yeah, it's a very complicated process, very hard to write. Then an editor goes through and says, well, maybe you should change this, and what do you mean by that, and what's the package size, and what do you, did you cover the pot or did you not cover the pot, and how do you know when it's done, and how many, you think this serves 6 people? Do you really? I don't think so. Uh-huh. And then you look at it again and say, well, maybe it really only serves 4, or it depends, or it's really, really good, and it might serve two hungry eaters. So you have to be very precise in writing. You have to have a following as well, and that's very important. I'm lucky. People have been cooking from my books for a long time, and so their fans. I can't quite understand it. I think it's really kind of neat. But you know what? Good food. People always remember a good recipe. And the nicest thing is when I meet people, I'll meet a woman and she'll say to her husband, "You know who this is?" And you know the brisket recipe that. Oh, your yellow book, the super roast brisket. I love that brisket. Or the Coke brisket from Millennium, which is now called Healthy Helpings. It's really nice when, or the kids come up to me and they get, oh, my mommy makes, your tuna noodle casserole. I love that, or the sweet and sour meatballs. So people identify, they connect with the recipe. There's a memory. There's or they like their matzo balls hard, or they like their matzo balls soft.
Everybody asks sinkers or floaters. When I make my matzo balls and I'm taking orders from clients, I go, is it a sinker or a floater? I go, floater.
Yeah, I do floaters.
Yeah.
My mother would put baking powder in her matzo balls.
And what does that do?
And it makes them light. Just a little bit of baking powder will lighten them up. But they'll come out without it.
I had Gil Marks here a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about putting duck fat in the matzo balls. Makes them heavy, but delicious.
Well, how could it be bad?
I know, duck
my
fat.
Baba, my grandmother, used to make schmaltz. Real schmaltz.
Like
but she would make it from the chicken skin and the yellow bits of fat and the onions, and I can still literally remember the smell of her apartment. And then she would send me home with a brown shopping bag with handles, and there was always like a jar of schmaltz in it. She says, your mother hasn't got time. Deine Mama hat nicht Zeit. She's very busy. So I'm sending it home for her. She felt that she could help my mother by sending her home schmaltz. And I met Arthur Schwartz, and he said, chicken fat is really fine for you because it's liquid at room temperature. I thought that was a really good answer. But, there's nothing like schmaltz.
I know.
It's something that we grew up with, and the Grieven were wonderful.
And the duck schmaltz, I know. But everyone's going so healthy, but like every once in a while.
Every so while, it's fine, There's nothing wrong with it. And the emotional satisfaction is worth a lot in terms of good health.
Right,
believe
right.
me.
I know Gourmet Glad out in Cedarhurst, Long Island, in my neighborhood. Gourmet Glad is our What's for Dinner sponsor on our segment.
Oh, okay.
We give out a recipe, which I'll do at the end of this segment, into another segment called What's for Dinner, and they sponsor it. And so I got a text from Rabbi Beryl Wallowik, and he sent me a picture. It was a picture text of duck breasts that they're now selling in Gourmet Glad. I was so excited because they used to have to buy a whole frozen chicken. A whole frozen duck. What to do with the top and what to do with the bottom. But, sometimes you want just duck breasts. And now they have it. So that's a really exciting thing because I think duck breasts are fabulous. And I render off all the fat and I make some French fries cooked in duck fat from that.
Oh, my gosh. I'm coming to your house.
I know, with pink Himalayan crystal salts.
I love the Himalayan crystal salt.
It's wonderful. Eat it plain.
It has such a clean taste, and it just changes the taste of a dish.
I'm not sure if it's kosher to Pesach, but after Pesach,
I was thinking exactly the same thing. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think after Pesach everyone should go. I think I picked mine up either at Gourmet Glad or Trader Joe's. I'm not sure, but I think they may both have it. But you grind it.
Come way down on it. It used to be very expensive.
Yeah,
Costco had it for about I think $4 or $5 up here in Canada. Our prices are more than yours, but originally I bought a small container. It was about $10. And now it's like half the price for double the amount.
Right. Yeah. It's much smaller. It's got much cheaper. Okay, so we've got to start wrapping up. I want to talk to you now about Pesach, and then we're going to go into our What's for Dinner segment. So talk to me about Pesach. What is your favorite Pesach recipes? What can we discuss with our audience about what's fun for the family, or, if you've got a big meal or a small meal, or Pesach tips that you can share with my listeners?
Well, it's interesting. I grew up on lots of carbs. So to me, my mother's Passover sponge cake is outstanding. That's actually in my in all editions of my food processor book, including the new food processor Bible, and so that it wouldn't taste like sponge cake, or taste like that matzah meal, cake meal taste. My mother used to grate in chocolate, and it's so terrific. I did a version of it actually in Millennium, which is Healthy Helpings, and I did it with just removed some of the yolks from it to reduce the cholesterol level. I like Passover kigelach. My mother would soak matzah farfel in boiling water, and I still do the same thing. It was one of the things we just loved, and then we'd mix it with eggs and a little bit of seasoning. Put them into muffin tins, and we would eat them instead of bread. So good, almost like a a Lokshenkugel. But I've taken that and turned it into a pizza base. I've baked it out on a big sheet pan, and if you're feeding kids, that's really a good thing to do. That you pre-bake it and then you top it with tomato sauce and cheese and of course some veggies.
Where can they find this recipe? Is it on gourmania.com?
That's in Healthy Helpings, Millennium Healthy Helpings. Okay.
So you can go to your local Judaica store and pick that up, Healthy Helpings?
Right.
Okay.
It's a really good book. These are the things that I grew up on.
Okay. And what now for the modern health conscious, where would you go now?
What do I do for health conscious? I just add vegetables to everything.
Okay.
I do a lot of roasted vegetables. I really like to do that because it becomes very heavy with all the kugels. I love kugel. I mean, I could forget about everything. I could just live on the side dishes, but I try not to.
I love
I'm
potato
not
kugel.
a huge protein eater, so I have to kind of push myself. And I'm not a huge salad eater unless somebody else makes it for me.
Really?
But, yeah, I really. It's because it's. When you grew up a certain way, I don't know, my mother never gave us much in salads. She made me sit at the table for 2 hours because I wouldn't eat my tomatoes.
I love tomatoes.
Of course, tomatoes would taste like wood a lot of the time. Now I leave my tomatoes out on the counter. Don't refrigerate tomatoes, by the way.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll even make my own tomato sauce. If I have a bunch of tomatoes in the fridge, I'll roast them up with a little bit of olive oil and garlic. People are doing a lot more things with vegetables today. So I like my confetti kugel. I like a good potato kugel from my processor book.
I love potato kugel.
Yeah.
You love it.
And I have some very good brownies that I've done, and an apple cake. I've done a lot of gluten-free recipes in the updated version of the processor book, the new food processor Bible. There's about maybe 4 or 5 dozen specifically gluten-free recipes. People are very interested in knowing how to cook gluten-free.
Yeah, I'm moving in that direction also.
Yeah, I still think you still need some fiber in your diet.
Oh,
some of the dishes are not so healthy. You have to be really careful. I try to do things that are more naturally gluten-free. I like good brisket. I like meat. I love meatballs. I'm always happy to have meatballs. So do I
love meatballs too. My family does not love meatballs so much, so I could eat like a quart by myself. We made a lot of meatballs for Pesach for people for this year for my catering business.
And you know what else? It's because kids like them as well.
Yeah.
Kids don't like complicated food. They don't like food that touches. If they might eat broccoli, but it shouldn't touch the meatballs, and the potatoes should be on the other part of the plate.
My family's, we're big into vegetables. I made yesterday, just to finish up whatever I had in my fridge, had a ton of Brussels sprouts. I washed them up, cleaned them up, checked them, cut them in half, sprinkled them with salt, olive oil, and fresh garlic, and I roasted them at 400. They were like chips. We were just popping them off like chips.
I have some. As a matter of fact, that's on my tonight's menu. Last night was broccoli.
Oh, there you go. So we're trying to use up what we have. Thank you so much, Norene, for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much, Naomi. It was wonderful to be on, and I hope you'll invite me back next year. We'll have a new book out. And,
I'm hoping.
I'm working with a co-author on that.
And I hope that we can maybe talk a little bit of cheesecake before Shavuos.
Sure.
Let's talk cheesecake.
And I'm wishing all your listeners a very healthy and happy Passover. Enjoy with your family. To you and your family, eat well and be well, and just have a very happy, healthy Passover.
Thank you, and same to you, and just continued good health. Stay healthy for us all, and for yourself, of course.
Oh, thank you, Naomi. Be well.
All right, take care. Bye.
Okay,
Chag Sameach. Chag Sameach and Shabbat Shalom. That was Norene Gilletz from Toronto, Canada. At least we're on the same time zone, even though she's in another country. I'm very excited. I was very excited to have her on, and she's just done so much. Check her out, her website on gourmania.com. I'm going to take a break and do a station ID. This is Table for Two with Naomi Nachman on the Nachum Segal Network. Our show is sponsored by Hod Golan, the height of taste. Our What's for Dinner segment is now sponsored, continue to be sponsored by Gourmet Glatt. Love them. They've had so much going on for Pesach. I'm in the store every day cooking and shopping and cooking for all my customers and for my family. So it's been a fabulous experience. When I need something, the guys at Gourmet Glatt get it for me. When I started early, like right after Purim, they got stuff for me. Brought some stuff up from their basement, ready for anyone who needed it, not just me. So it was really nice. I'm just going to talk about it for 1 minute, a recipe for our segment that I came up with along with my friend Melinda Strauss from kitchen-tester.com. She's a fabulous food blogger. So check out her website as well. She has tons of great Pesach recipes. But I just wanted to share, there's a recipe out there all over the food internet world about cauliflower pizza, and you have to grate cauliflower and then steam it. So I thought, how can I make this easier? It's Pesach time. We can eat the cauliflower pizza, but it was too much work and we're already so busy. So I came up. I took Eden or Bodek checked frozen cauliflower. Now, this is awesome because it's parboiled, basically, so you don't have to do that whole process of grating it down. So I basically let it partially defrost on the counter, put it through my food processor, so it looked like crumbles of basically maybe like cottage cheese. I let it defrost as crumbles a little bit more. I squeezed it very, very tight inside dish towels. So all the water over the sink came dripping out, so it was very dry. Then I added an egg, a handful of grated mozzarella cheese, and I mixed it all together, and it literally turned into dough before my eyes. I couldn't believe it. It's not like challah dough or cake dough. It looked a little bit, it had a dough-like quality to it. I made it round on a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. I also seasoned it with some salt and garlic powder and onion powder, and some oregano. I'll say it like an American, oregano. So I put oregano in it too. And then I made it a circle, and then I baked it at 400 degrees on convection. So, I mean, if you don't have convection, you could also just do it 400 without it until it got nice and crispy brown. And then it looked like a pizza dough, like a pizza circle. So I took it out. I then put sauce on it, and then more mozzarella cheese and different toppings. I did onions and sliced mushrooms and some pineapple. I know that's very Australian. Threw on some more oregano, and then I baked it till the cheese melted. It was amazing. It's gluten-free. It's good all year. It's delicious. It's healthy, and it's really fun. It's better than the matzah pizza, let me tell you. It was more authentic tasting than eating a matzah pizza. So that was our What's for Dinner segment. I'm very lucky to have on the phone the most popular, amazing, luckiest guy in the world, because Elan Kornblum gets to eat at every kosher restaurant in the country. And he's joining us now from his office in Brooklyn as he wraps up his magazine, latest edition of his magazine. He's going to be going off to his own hotel to have his own Pesach experience. And I'd like to welcome Elan Kornblum from Great Kosher Restaurants.
Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, Elan. I'm sorry you can't be in the studio today because I know you're so crazy busy.
Yeah, in fact, today we're literally releasing the magazine.
Oh, yay!
We're getting the first shipment of 8,000 magazines to our garage, and I'm going to see it for the first time, basically today, and we're releasing it, and anyone, by the way, can purchase it and get it before Pesach. Go to our website. You can go to buythemag.com. And you can purchase it there. But, yeah, really excited. I'm sure we're Facebook friends, so you kind of know a little bit of my day-to-day operation and what I've been going through. But for the last 6 months, it's been stress day after day, making sure we got all the pictures and menus and articles done. And so thank God it's done. It looks great. I'm very, very excited.
I can't wait to book you in for a full hour in the studio just talking about the magazine and the restaurants, because I think that would be a real treat for us all.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that after Pesach,
sure.
But let's talk about restaurants open on Pesach, because I think that is so amazing and so exciting that in this day and age that there are so many restaurants open on Pesach.
Yeah, it's been, you mostly had a handful of restaurants for many years, Manhattan restaurants mostly that have been open, and of course every year is a little different depending on Chol HaMoed and whether it's worth it for the restaurants. But this year, yeah, you have a nice amount of restaurants. Again, mostly Manhattan. Then you have, of course, Miami, some in Los Angeles, and here and there. But mostly, you go to the city, you have Abigail's, and a lot of them again are open for Seders and open for Chol HaMoed. So I'll quickly go through it so your readers and listeners can know. For Seders, you have Abigail's, which is also open Chol HaMoed. You have 18 restaurants on the Upper East Side.
I never heard of that one even.
Yeah, that's on 81st Street between 2nd and 3rd.
What kind of restaurant is that?
They just renovated. It used to be kind of a deli, an upscale deli. Now it's towards a nice kind of steakhouse restaurant. They have a full bar. Really nice place. It's kind of hidden, I know.
Yeah, I never heard of it, and I thought I knew all the restaurants.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
It's used to be turquoise. People who really know.
Oh, okay. I heard of turquoise. That
was for like a year, but then they turned 18, and it's been like for 3 years. It's been there.
Okay,
so,
all right.
Yeah, check that out.
Check
18
that
restaurants.
out. Okay.
Give them a shout out. So yeah, they're open for seders and Chol Hamoed. And by the way, all the menus, all the details can be found on our website. We even have a special link that people can go to. Is kosherpesach.com. So if you go to that, you can just find out all the restaurants that we have with their menus. And all the details.
Okay, can I just, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have a question. What does it mean you go to a restaurant for a Seder? Can you just, I'm sorry, I'm a little thrown off by that. And I don't know if my listeners know what that means. I think I know what it means, but let's share that with our listeners.
Well, again, the restaurants that are open for Seders, there are certain restaurants that open up for Seders and Chol Hamoed, intermediate days, and then there.
What do you mean to say that you can book in and pay? I mean, it's Yom Tov.
Oh yeah, it's
so
a full.
Some of my listeners might not know.
Okay, so like any
let's
other
give it a background.
Seder, you can do a private Seder and you can do a communal Seder. There are some like Abigail's which has the room to do plenty of different groups. So if you want to have for 2 people, you want to have your own. You want to sit down at a table, have your own Haggadah. Go, through it, and then you get to the meal, and they'll serve it to you. You can also have 20 people, 30 people with a whole family and a whole group coming. They'll put you in a party, separate party room, and you can have your own Seder with the rabbi. And again, once you're
that's so interesting.
Once you're ready, they'll serve it to you. It's kind of like a mini Pesach program without the tea room and the swimming pool. It's just you get the meal, you get the experience, you get to be able to have the family get together. A lot of times they go to Manhattan from all parts of the world and the country, and they meet in Manhattan, stay at the hotel, they go to the Seders, and they are able to go to shul within the nearby shul. So yeah, it's been very popular.
I didn't know such a thing existed. Like I have heard of Friday night restaurants out of town,
it's very similar. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, a lot of people who can't make Seder on their own or aren't, available to do that have some other option. That's really nice to know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have, let's say, you have Le Marais, which is open for Chol Hamoed only. You have Mendy's also open for Chol Hamoed. And a lot of these places, especially also Mendy's, has a takeout, has delivery, special Pesach menu. So, again, if you go to our website, kosherpesach.com, you can find that there. Mr. Broadway is also having Seders, and will be open for Chol Hamoed. In fact, their Seders will be led by the Chabad, French Jewish Cultural Center.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be very interesting. So you can get, you can get the meals there. They have for Seders and for holiday lunches, in fact. So they can do that. You also have Prime Butcher Baker, which is the butcher shop for Prime Grill, which will be open throughout Chol Hamoed and before, of course, to get any pickup or takeout. So that's available. Prime Grill, of course, will be open for Seders and Chol Hamoed. And again, you're looking at basically for them $150 per person, $85 for kids. If anyone is interested in prices, but if it's worth the experience, if you feel that this is the only time that you can get together with the family and only have Seder. So you have Tom Tov in the city, which is open for Chol Hamoed, and Talia Steakhouse, also Seders and Chol Hamoed. So you should check them out. Then you have Quickly Florida, you have China Kikar Tel Aviv, you have Grill House.
We're drooling here. We're actually really hungry right now, right, CK?
I mean, even for Pesach, you get hungry, yeah?
I know, talking about Pesach, we're getting hungry, and I've just been cooking Pesach for 5 weeks.
I think you kind of eat, obviously you eat a lot on Pesach. You're home, you kind of just figuring out what to do, can't really do much on Yom Tov. You eat, and, you prepare, and so, yeah, you eat a lot. And it's hopefully the meals. I know that you cook some great meals and prepare, so I'm sure your customers are very happy.
I hope so. I hope so. But when they've won a nice Chol Hamoed meal out, they got to know where to go.
Right.
A lot of my customers or a lot of people I know also just don't want to think about in advance Chol Hamoed meals.
Right.
I feel like. Gil Marks gave us a recipe when he was on the show about what to make, and Norene Gilletz from Toronto, Canada. We were just talking food with her, and I just gave a recipe out for cauliflower pizza. But sometimes you need a break, and if you're not going away and you are in New York and you want to spend a day in the city.
you're pumped up in the house, don't know where to go, and then finally, Cholmod is here, you want to go somewhere. So, for sure. But again, word of advice, it gets really busy.
Oh, okay,
It's
good.
packed. So I would make reservations. Some even don't even make reservations because they want to hold the restaurant. They don't want to hold it for you in case you show up late. There's going to be a line waiting. But if you get there off-peak hours, you get there early in the. Some places are opening up. Talia's is opening up almost 24 hours. So yeah, you can go for almost breakfast there.
That's crazy.
I would go off peak hours where it won't be so busy. Again, go in the morning, go in the early lunch, early dinner, late dinner.
Right.
Don't go 8 o'clock. Again, of course, I want everyone to go as much as they can, but if you don't want to wait too long, try to go, where not everyone else is going. Be patient. I know it's going to, the staff is going to be going crazy, and just be patient. Know that it's going to take a little longer than usual, and just, have a good time with it.
I remember one time, I know it wasn't Pesach, but it was Sukkot, and I was in the city with my kids on break, and I told my husband I want to go out to eat, and I found a restaurant, found some of the restaurants either probably on your website, greatkosherrestaurantmagazine.com, and told me which restaurants I could go to.
Great Kosher Restaurants.
Greatkosherrestaurants.com. Okay, sorry. I want to make sure we get that right. And I remember Lama Ray was open, right. and my husband said, go at 4:30 and get a table. Go in, order appetizers till I get there at 5:15. Just start the meal, because the sukkah was very limited.
Right.
But so we did. We literally went at 4:30, and me and my girls, we ordered appetizers. By the time my husband showed up, because he doesn't work too far from Manhattan, we had the steaks just were coming out as he walked in. It was perfect timing.
Yeah, it was great. It's a great idea. That's what you got to do.
Go early.
Go early. Again, just prepare yourself. And just, enjoy the experience, and it'll be fun.
It's so cool. Why? Can I ask you, why did, this year especially, right? Chalamod is basically, they're not opening Wednesday night after Yom Tov, right?
There are.
They are?
Sure, a lot of restaurants
Okay,
are.
so,
interesting. They're going to be open till 1 o'clock in the morning. Again, you can find all the details, but they're using every second they can.
Right, because
I guess that's what your point was. Is it worth it for them?
One day this year, Chalamoid is one day. It's Thursday, right? You got because Sunday night's already Yom Tov again. And you have Motzei Shabbos.
They're open Wednesday night. They're open Thursday. They're open Friday
during the day
as much as they can. They're open Saturday night.
And Sunday for lunch, maybe.
Sunday, so they're squeezing. It takes a long time to kosher the kitchen.
That's what I was going to ask you. How long does it take a restaurant to turn over?
It could take. Again, I've heard of restaurants where, let's say, for instance, this year it starts Monday night. I know that the restaurants might even be open Sunday, and then Sunday night through the night, just kosher the entire kitchen. So I know mashgichim who are going to be up all night Sunday night, just koshering everything. So it could take about 12 hours, blow-torching the equipment and making sure that everything is kosher. So, it's a schedule that, a lot of these restaurants know. They're used to it, and it's worth it for them. You can imagine it already is a niche market. It's already a small market.
Right.
Restaurants. Here are you now a handful of restaurants, and, they're busy. But again, they have a clientele, especially in Manhattan, that's worth it for them. People from all over are coming.
Yeah, it's unreal. I remember my uncle Michael Atlas of Sydney, Australia. He had a he had a restaurant called Beaches. It was actually in your magazine.
I know, I remember.
Many years ago.
Sure.
He's been closed down a long time already. And he's gone into catering with my cousin Cassie Atlas, who is getting married very soon. We were there for Australia, for Pesach, the first year he was open. And he made it Kosher Pesach, his restaurant, and it was the biggest deal to have something open on Pesach in Australia. We hardly have kosher restaurants in Sydney, and now something was going to be open for Pesach. It was so exciting. I still find it exciting, even in New York.
Again, something that, you think of Pesach as just, staying home and not being able to really enjoy and drive anywhere and see the sights and have. Oh my God! I remember growing up, matzah and cream cheese.
I was just going to say.
That's what I used to have, and going to the ball game, I used to have, and it gets soggy by the time you eat it.
I know.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it's really come really a long way. I mean, there's recipes online for matzah to make your own matzah bread. Actually, Norene Gilletz on Gourmania.com has, if you're listening still from Norene's interview, she actually has matzah rolls and matzah bagels on her website under her Pesach section, and they're really delicious. So, it's okay to eat, not eat the matzah bread. I mean,
if you eat it right away, it's delicious. But if it's in your bag for 4 hours,
it's gross. So you can make them and eat them, fresh right away, or take the matzah. You know what I found is really easy. I take a matzah and then a little cooler, buy Pesach cooler, and put the cream cheese and tuna in there, and spread it on right before you eat it, because it's really gross otherwise. I know. But yeah, we've come a long way, and I find that the kosher supermarkets and the kosher products out there are so unbelievable.
Yeah, the takeout, and you can really get everything.
Not even the takeout. You can get Dougie's wing sauce. You can make wings. Here's a quick and easy wing recipe. You clean up your wings that you buy in your local kosher supermarket. Mine is, of course, Gomeglat. I season it with different spices, some cumin and some salt and some garlic powder and some paprika and hot smoked paprika.
Right.
I roast that up for 400 degrees, like dry rub for 20 minutes, and then I pour Dougie's wing sauce over and I cook it for another 20 minutes. It's so quick and easy because the Dougie's sauce just gives it that edge, because we've got all these great ingredients. Worcestershire sauce for Pesach and soya sauce. They weren't available 5 years ago.
I think it's the same thing with the kosher market. That's it's expanded. The palate of the consumer is more educated. They demand more. So just throughout the year, I think the ingredients, and you have more options. And the same thing with Pesach now. It makes sense. Everything is now going more and more, whether it's specific or you have anything that you want, that you can get it's now available. So it's a nice trend, a nice climb that we're going to, where things that weren't available before are now available now.
Like quinoa. Like how cool is that? Right?
Yeah, sushi. You have now sushi. You can, for Pesach.
Because you can use the quinoa. But you want to hear something cool?
Yeah.
I was talking before about cauliflower pizza.
Right.
So you know what you can do instead of making cauliflower pizza? You can take if you grind up the cauliflower and you squeeze it dry, you can put that inside kosher Pesach nori.
Right.
And make your sushi out of nori. You can make your sushi out of cauliflower.
Wow. Where I'm going, they're having a sushi bar.
Yeah. It's probably either quinoa or cauliflower. I don't know.
I will find out.
Yeah, you let me know.
Okay, I'll take pictures.
Yeah, I want pictures sent to me from your place. I'll send
on Facebook.
I'll send on mine, and I'll send you'll send me yours, and we'll check out the food, because Pesach really it's about the freedom and the journey that we had, and all the miracles that Hashem gave us, but it's become a lot about the food.
Yeah. That's what it's always about.
Because we're Jews, right?
I know.
Elan, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. And definitely let's try to get together. And please, if anyone is interested, the magazine literally came out today. Go to buythemag.com, BUYTHEMAG, and you'll get it before Pesach.
And when will it be in Gomeglat?
After Pesach, all the distribution. That's why it's exciting. If anyone wants to get it now, this is the only way. But otherwise, it's going to be in Barnes & Noble and in all the gourmet supermarkets and Jewish bookstores after Pesach. Have a little vacation, just so that I can, relax a little bit, and then boom.
Hit the restaurants.
That's it.
Fantastic. Okay, we look forward to having you on very soon and talking just about restaurants and food again.
All right, thanks so much.
Okay, take care. Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
All right. Thank you, Elan Kornblum, for joining us. How exciting is that? Wow. Okay. It's all about the food all the time on this show. I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Abels and Hyman, and Hod Golan. They have so many kosher Pesach products out there. Before the Seder, which is going to start about 8:30 at night. So you've got a good couple of hours beforehand. 5 o'clock, you can actually serve some hot dogs and ketchup, mix together some kosher Pesach, mustard and honey, and make a honey dipping sauce for some hot dogs. The Hod Golan has got some amazing very thinly sliced chicken and turkey if you want to go a little bit healthier. The pastrami is fabulous. You can make a yapsik, pour some potato kugel over some pastrami, potato kugel batter. So potato kugel batter, pour it over pastrami, cook it for 2 hours. You'll have the most delicious pastrami potato kugel. You can throw that in the oven overnight for 200 degrees. It will be delicious. All the recipes I spoke today about, we spoke a lot about recipes for Pesach, is on my website, theaussiegourmet.com. So really, everyone, I think that's a wrap, right? It's our last show before we go on hiatus, before our Pesach vacation. I just want to wish all our listeners a Chag Kasher v'Pesach Sameach, a Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy, hopefully, some beautiful weather. Chag HaAviv will finally appear. And I just want to thank our sponsors, Abels and Hyman, and Hod Golan for sponsoring our show. And stay tuned now, listening to music, sponsored by our friends at Kedem, all the way up to Lichtbenching. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Kasher v'Pesach Sameach again. Take care. Have fun.